Hey guys, before we get going on this episode, I do want to issue a trigger warning. There is talk of suicide beginning with my teaser tape, which will be following this short announcement. So if suicide or the talk of suicide makes you uncomfortable or could be a possible trigger, please listen accordingly, and perhaps this isn't the episode for you. Suicide is about pain. It is not about love. You couldn't have loved them any more or any better because it's about the pain in that moment being more powerful than the love. And there was nothing that you could do to change that. Welcome to The Onion Peel, a show where we get real, raw, and honest about life. It's a space where authenticity lives and hope resides. The Onion Peel is a place where we peel back the layers of our stories and discover the unexpected flavoring that each one brings. Hey guys, I'm your host and semi-crazy Christian, Angela McConnell. I'm a middle-aged mom of 5 with a dead husband, and I've been through some shit in my life. Now, I'm on a mission to bring hope to the world. So join me as we journey through this onion and find hope in the tears. You ready to peel this thing? Hey guys, welcome to The Onion Peel. How y'all doing out there? Such crazy times with all this coronavirus stuff going on. I hope you're all doing whatever you need to do to stay healthy, washing your hands, staying inside, and I hope, most importantly, that you're willing to share your toilet paper. Because let me tell you, here at OP headquarters, we're running mighty low. I think we're down to maybe 3 rolls. And I've got 5 adults living here. So yeah, that's not gonna go well by tomorrow morning. But the good news is that this is an opportunity for all of us to get off the merry-go-round, spend some time with our families, and show each other love. Okay, let's get into today's episode. So I started going through my journals, and that's where I got today's inspiration. I had shared with you guys before that right after Don died, I started doing a journal, a writing journal. I love to write. I love words. I can't tell you how excited I get when I get to look up words in a thesaurus. It's like my fave. So writing is a thing that I do to express myself, and I think it's good for anybody who needs to process through something. But I only did a writing journal up until this time in the fall that I'm going to talk about. But after a few months, I realized that I couldn't write fast enough to keep up with what I had to process. So I picked up my phone one day and I just started talking into it. And I'm so happy I did. And I've been doing it now for almost 7 years. So I have just oodles of entries of me crying, praying, raging, pondering. And it's so cool because when you can listen to your voice and you can hear the tone and how you're speaking, where when you write, you can't actually immerse yourself into that real-time experience of it. So as I was going through some voice memos, I came across one that reminded me that hope comes in sometimes the most normal, everyday things. And for me, one time it came in a text message. I was at this place where I was trying to figure out what our everyday was going to be. Kids had been back in school now a couple months. We had a daily physical routine established, but I was trying to make it so that somehow our new normal could exist without us being miserable, without it hurting so much. We had gotten to a point where our story was not the top story on everybody's tongue anymore. The focus had kind of shifted away from us. We had gone through our time period of people bringing us meals. We had a wonderful fundraising event held in Don's honor. So that time of immediate gathering had dissipated, and everyone was refocused back into their lives, which is great. So the hype was gone, but what I realized was that what was left in its place was expectation and opinions. As friends and family were resuming their focus in their lives going forward, that meant that I was supposed to be doing that as well. I was supposed to be making forward movement and quote unquote moving on. And when I didn't meet those expectations, the opinions started to form. And from the opinions came the suggestions as to what I should be doing. And this advice would come under the guise of helpfulness and love, but the way that I received it was hurtfulness and disappointment. Things were said such as, I just don't even want to be around her. She gets so angry, she scares me. Then there's, I think there's something wrong with her. She's never gotten mad at Don. Okay, which one is it? I'm too angry or I'm not angry enough? Well, she needs to start moving forward. She can't just sit around all the time. She has to re-engage in life. I mean, what kind of example is she setting for the kids if she doesn't start to take action to move on? Then there were the comments about what our plans for the holidays were going to be as we're approaching Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I wrote a letter explaining that we are just going to stay home for Thanksgiving. We had been invited to go stay with some family down south, and we didn't want to do that. And then for Christmas, the kids and I were packing up, and we were going to go hide away in a little mountain cabin for 10 days. Just us. So they weren't exactly happy with us. Well, me. It was me they weren't happy with. I was told that I wasn't doing the right thing for the kids. The kids need their family right now. You taking them away is not helping them. And don't you think that we might want to see the kids? Do you think it's a good idea that you're going to be driving in the snow in the mountains? I've grown up my entire life driving in a cold weather state where we have months and months of snow on the roads. I think I'll be fine. Well, I hope you're not just doing this to try and escape. Yes, that's exactly what we're trying to do. To get the hell away from our life, any part of it, and every part of it. To go hole ourselves up and just be away from it all. Then there was comments about me not re-engaging at work and that I really need to focus on that and put my energy into our financial stability. There was also, well, don't you think you should get the kids involved in some type of therapy? I mean, they're going to have to talk through all their feelings and they need to have an outlet. I mean, if you don't do something, they're going to be messed up forever. Sometimes the tone would be, now listen, I'm only saying this because I'm trying to help. I just really think that you need to think about how you want to move forward on this. Because if it's not done the right way, you could cause further damage to yourself and to the kids. You know, it was all things that everybody else thought that I should be doing, which that part was even fine, but it was the fact that everything that I was doing wasn't right. And that's the part that made it difficult. Nobody during that time, as I'm trying to re-engage and rebuild, had anything positive to say. There was nothing hope-filled said to me. Nothing even kind. Everything was just questioning my judgment and my decision-making, which ultimately gets to the core of making me feel like I was not a good mom or even a good person. They had zero faith in me. I know that the intentions were good, but all of it was so laced in fear that any good intention just gets destroyed. And I ended up feeling like a complete and utter disappointment to everyone. What they didn't know was that I was already beating myself up over Don's death. Now that the shock that he was dead was over, I really started to take a look at the fact that my husband killed himself. I had to look in the mirror and go, how can you say you're best friends, Ange, and then you had no idea that all this chaos was going on behind the scenes? How checked out were you if your financial stability had been tanking for years and you had no idea? How could you sleep in the same bed with this man every single night and you didn't know he was depressed? What's the matter with you? Are you that self-absorbed? How could you have missed so much of what was going on? How could your husband that you loved so much not feel safe enough to come to you and tell you his problems? How could you have not been that safe place for him? See, I was already in a full-fledged attack against myself, and it was quickly turning into righteous self-hatred. They were valid questions, every single one of them, and I didn't have answers to a lot of them. All I knew was that the image that I had of myself was destroyed. My character was in question. And because I didn't have any solid answers to that question, I had to deduct that I was a horrible person. Definitely a horrible wife. And probably a horrible mom. Because in my mind, if I let my husband die, who I adored, who was the love of my life, what was going to be next? My children? What damage was I going to cause for them? And now I've got people that are friends, my family, basically telling me that I'm not doing things right. Nobody once said to me, I can't even imagine what your days are filled with. I have so much respect for you getting up out of bed every single day. You are so strong. You are one of the smartest people I know, which was always one of the kind things that Don always said to me. And I know that you're going to do all the right things with these kids, and you guys are going to land on top. Now, look, I had them telling me that they were there for me, that if I needed anything, to let them know, which is awesome. But my point is that I wasn't actually having anyone provide a safe place emotionally or build me up mentally. But then God sends me a gift of hope. And I get a phone call from a friend who wants to just come over, bring me lunch, give me a hug. She wasn't going to stay long. She just wanted to know if it would be okay if she could come over for a short time. Now, I wasn't letting anybody in. Nobody. Everybody knew that you don't unexpectedly stop at my house. That was the known. And so I thought about it for a minute, but this was a friend that was always great, and our friendship was always smooth and real, and there was never anything other than just authentic caring towards each other. So I said, sure, that would be great to see you. A couple days later, she ends up coming over, bringing lunch, and we just sat and missed Don together. Just missed him. Cried over the fact that we were never going to hear him laugh again. She could have cared less that he killed himself. She could have cared less about why he chose what he chose. None of that mattered. What mattered is that she missed him. And she just wanted to share tears over someone that she loved as a friend. It was just a beautiful remembering time. And I hadn't had that. Because with suicide, you don't get that. It's not like a normal death. People don't sit and tell stories and laugh and, oh, there was this one time. They don't do that because there's too much of all that ugly shame wrapped around everything for everyone. My family couldn't do it. It took them years before they could actually fondly remember Don. And I still have some family members that can't bring him up, still to this day. So for her to come over and just be in a place where we just sat with Don was so incredibly special for me because no one else in my immediate circle was doing that. And see, that's why the kids and I didn't want to be around anybody at Thanksgiving and why we were getting the hell out of here for Christmas. Because we just wanted to be together and be with Don. And nobody else in my circle was at a place that they could do that. And that's okay. Everybody has their own time frame. But we needed to talk about Don now. So we end our lunch. The night comes. I'm in bed. Can't sleep because all I'm doing is going over just all the things people are saying and going over beating myself up and thinking about my marriage. And of course, going through the whole menagerie of if you had only picked up on this, you maybe could have saved him. Remember that one time he looked at you and you knew something was wrong? You could feel it in your core and you didn't do anything about it. You just let it pass by. Maybe they're right. Maybe I do need to stay home. It's not good for the kids if they're away from their family members. Just all of that, right? We all do that at night. We run the tapes in our head. After several hours of doing that, I fell deep into the pit of despair and self-loathing. I got up to go to the bathroom. It was probably, 3:30 in the morning. I get right in front of the door and I just collapse. Didn't pass out, just collapsed. It was as if the weight of all the negativity and the immenseness of the self-hatred that I was feeling pushed me down. I started, of course, having a panic attack. Can't breathe. I finally got myself enough to just sit up on my butt with my back leaning against the wall. And I'm just sobbing. It was so dark in that moment. All I felt was disgust. Utter disgust of who I was. I felt like I was sitting in vomit. But the problem was, I was the vomit. So I couldn't actually get away from the stench or clean myself up. Because I was it. I was foul, putrid vomit. And as I sat there crying, I remember looking up and wanting to say something to God. I wasn't desperate. That's not what I felt. What I felt was just disgusted. I just wanted to be taken away because I couldn't stand my own stench. But I couldn't say anything to him. I couldn't even cry out. I couldn't pray. I couldn't even put into words how much I thought I was disgusting. I couldn't say anything. There was nothing that could describe the hate that I had towards who I was. For God's sakes, my husband had killed himself. What kind of a human being am I that I could allow that to happen? And then there I was, trying to make my way, and I felt like nobody had any faith in me. That they all thought that I was a horrible person too. I begged God that night to just let me die. I begged him. Then a new day dawns. The sun rises. And even though, as I've said before, those are my darkest hours, is when the sun rises, I had to get up and get the kids to school and start my day. Guys, the thing is I know that so many of you out there know exactly how it feels to not want to be in your own skin. But just please, take a breath, and then another one, and then another one. And I promise you, hope is there. On that note, I'm going to pause and take a moment right now, because I need to say something very important to a very special group of people. For those of you who have lost someone to suicide, it's not your fault. There's nothing you could have done. And I want you to know that it is okay to have to go through that place of analysis, of processing, of what ifs, to get to the other side of knowing the truth. And the truth is, if someone is going to take their life, they're going to take their life. And even on the off chance that you could have stopped them that time, when somebody has their mind made up to do it, there would have been a next time. And I'm not saying that to take hope away. I'm saying that to give you clarity and understanding, to know that when someone actually suicides, there was nothing that you could have done about it. It took me a long time to come to that understanding, but it's what the truth is. So go through your time of having to answer those questions for yourself. But you have to be able to get on the other side of it. You couldn't have stopped it. None of us are that powerful. Because we're not God. So we need to stop thinking that we are. In the end, you need to live in the truth that you loved your person and that they knew that you loved them. Suicide is about pain. It is not about love. You couldn't have loved them any more or any better because it's about the pain in that moment being more powerful than the love. And there was nothing that you could do to change that. So please, release that guilt off of yourself and know that you did love them enough. I just really needed to say that. Okay, so let's get back to the story. So I get back from taking the kids to school, and all of a sudden my phone goes off, and I get a text message. It was from my friend that had come over the day before to bring me lunch. And here's what her text message said. It was so great seeing you yesterday. You are such an easy friend to love, protect, honor, and cherish. It's because you are so real to your core. It's what I've always loved about you. So in good and bad times, I will always be there for you. That text changed everything. That text gave me life. That text gave me the encouragement, which then gave me the ability to get through the next moment. You see, what she said to me was, I love you because you're you, and I think you're great. I love that you're real. I love that you're honest. I don't think you're doing anything wrong. It's easy to love you. And you know why? Because you're you. And that's not just because you're going through a hard time right now. That's because for the whole time I've known you for all these years, I think you're awesome. I don't care if you let me in or you don't let me in. That doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to love you. It was so pure, what she was saying to me. It was simple to her. It was about love. That's it. She didn't give me any of her opinions of what she thinks I should or shouldn't do. She didn't make me feel like I was doing anything wrong. She said the direct opposite. She said, you're doing everything right because of who you are. And I see who you are. And I have complete faith in you. Her text reminded me of who I was. She stopped me from loathing myself. She gave me strength and reminded me that who I was good. Yes, all of that from a couple sentences. But see, hope does show up in the everyday, normal things, like a text message. Sometimes we just have to stop for a second, take a breath, and sit in the gift that was just given to us. And in this case, it was the collection of 48 words, precisely placed, precisely timed, which carried the power to save my life. That's what hope does. It infuses everything. And then we walk away empowered, able to take on the next moment. And that is going to bring us to the close of another episode. I would like to very quickly give a shout out to all of you that have reached out to me and shared some of your stories. I am so honored to be the recipient of your pain, your joys, your care, your prayers. You guys are just truly amazing. And I love you all. I pray for you all. Please know that. And I hope that we can just continue journeying this together. Also, please like, share, follow, subscribe to my podcast so you can get notifications when I upload a new episode. I'm everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, theonionpeel.com. So find me. I'm out there. Well, I guess that's it. It's that time to put this onion back in the bin until we talk again. I hope you guys stay safe out there. Wash your hands and share your toilet paper. Have a good day. See you guys.